Hey, Art, can I get a clue as to where you are this week?
It has something to do with toys and handball.
Oh, I like that. I think we called that a tease. I got good news for you. The 49ers didn't lose this week.
Not yet.
Portland is the 18th team in Major League Soccer.
It's the City of Portland's championship.
It is great to be home.
Sports Sunday with Orlando Sanchez.
What's good, everyone? I'm Orlando Sanchez. We've got a stacked show for you tonight, but we have to start with news involving the Portland Trail Blazers. Today was supposed to be the start of training camp, but that didn't happen. Their practice facility is closed. There have been 3 positive COVID-19 tests within the organization over the last few days. We don't know if these are players, coaches, or support staff. General Manager Neil Olshey released this statement saying the Blazers closed the practice facility for a deep clean and will perform more tests over the next few days. The practice facility will be open tomorrow for individual workouts for players. The Blazers are scheduled to host Sacramento in their first preseason game on Friday. So we're going to talk about the Blazers later in the show. We talked to almost every player this week. That includes Carmelo Anthony embracing a new role. Plus, it was not a good Saturday for the Ducks and Beavers. What went wrong in Berkeley and Salt Lake City? Art Edwards here now, continuing his socially distant travels. So Art, where are you, man?
I'm in Denmark, the land of Legos, and this week hosting a team handball tournament.
Oh, I love that.
See, it is.
I didn't know Legos was part of the mix, though, man.
Yes, they come from Denmark. Nearly 100 years ago, they were first made.
The more you know. Art Edwards bringing that knowledge, and I'm going to need your opinion on a few more things coming up in the next half hour, all right, man?
Yeah.
So the Seahawks' schedule doesn't get much easier than it is right now, in the midst of a 4-game stretch against teams with losing records, a chance to rack up some wins and push for the top spot and a bye in the playoffs. Heading into today's game against the Giants, the entire NFC East 0-17 against winning teams. The Giants, double-digit underdogs. Seattle's defense pitching a shutout early. I mean, it was 5-0 at halftime. According to NFL Network, that's the first time that's happened in an NFL game since 1927. The Giants took over in the third quarter. Alfred Morris with a pair of touchdowns to put New York on top. Seattle's offense never really settled down. Russell Wilson, he hooked up with Chris Carson there for the only touchdown. Wilson, though, was sacked 5 times, 2 turnovers on the day, and still Seattle had its chances and couldn't find the big play. For the first time this season, the Seahawks lose at home. Final count, 17-12. Let's head inside the press box, check in with NBC Sports Northwest and Seahawks insider Joe Fan. Joe, disappointing loss for the Seahawks to say the least. What went wrong for the Seahawks today?
Yeah, I mean, everything went wrong, at least offensively. The passing game was an absolute mess, and we've seen that in spurts, but haven't really seen it for an entire game, and it was ugly. Only 10 offensive points for Seattle, but they just couldn't control the Giants' pass rush. They're really missing Brandon Shell at right tackle. They were also missing Cedric Ogbuehi. DeMarco Jones then went down. They were down to Chad Wheeler. So their 4th string right tackle. And really, you could tell that Russell Wilson wasn't comfortable at all. He took his eyes down to the pass rush in front of him rather than keeping him downfield and surveying the field. Took a number of hits. Leonard Williams absolutely dominated this game. And really an ugly loss for a team that had no business losing to the Giants without their starting quarterback, for that matter.
Joe, is this the Seahawks laying an egg, or should there be a higher level of concern moving forward?
Yeah, it's both. I mean, it's an absolute egg, arguably the biggest of the Pete Carroll era. It was really bad. And again, when you're a contender playing at home, This is the month-long stretch that you hope to sweep. While they do control their own destiny, this is a big loss for them. The Rams also winning and then taking back first place in the NFC West. So there's some soul-searching that needs to be done within the offense, with Russell Wilson, with Brian Schottenheimer, figuring out what is going wrong. Why isn't there an intermediate passing game? Why is this offense not able to take easy wins? Why is Russ taking more sacks than he should? The offensive line had protection issues, certainly, but you knew that was going to be a factor without Brandon Shell in the lineup and Cedric Ogbuehi. But it didn't seem like they planned to make up for that. There's a lot wrong with the passing game right now. We talked a lot about the accountability meeting the defense had a couple of weeks ago. Well, it's time for the offense to do some similar soul searching right now.
Joe Fan holding it down for us inside the press box. Appreciate you as usual, man. It's time for us to take our trip around the NFL driven by Hyundai. The Seahawks loss drops them to 8-4 on the season. You can take a look here. Heading into today's games, the Rams and Cardinals right behind the Seahawks. So let's go. Jared Goff, solid for the Rams, threw for 351 yards and a TD pass. No interceptions on the day, and the Rams sealed the game late with a pick six. Rams win 38-28. They're now tied with the Seahawks at 8-4 on top of the NFC West. Cards dropped to 6-6. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Where you at, Art?
We're going to head to Atlanta for a date between the high-flying New Orleans Saints and the Falcons, usually one of the league's best rivalries. Taysom Hill getting his third straight start for the injured Drew Brees. He threw his very first NFL touchdown pass. There it is right there. In the Saints' 21-16 win, Saints now 10-2 on the season. New Orleans, first team to clinch a playoff spot. Atlanta falls to 4-8.
Atlanta falls to what?
4-8.
Oh, producer Craig. Oh, that hurts. We go about 250 miles from Atlanta to Nashville. Titans hosting the Browns. And the Browns, they scored early and often. They rolled out to a 38-7 halftime lead. Baker Mayfield dropping dimes. One of his best games as a pro. 334 yards passing, 4 TDs, and they were all in the first half. Cleveland wins 41-35. How about them Browns? 9-3 for the first time since 1994. Meanwhile, the Titans fall to 8-4. So, Art, it's time now for the players and teams that had good days and, the ones that had not so good days. What's my man Justin doing up here? Oh,
You'll see.
No. Well, today it was a tale of 2 quarterbacks for our heroes and zeros. On the hero side, Green Bay Packers' Aaron Rodgers. He tossed 3 TDs. Rodgers, the first player in NFL history with 5 seasons of 35-plus touchdown passes. He's also the fastest to 400 TD passes. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Packers, they beat up on the Eagles 30-16.
Hey, our other hero is rookie wide receiver Justin Jefferson. This guy is unbelievable. He became the 5th player in the Super Bowl era to top 1,000 yards receiving in his first 12 career games. His Vikings beat the Jags 27-24 in overtime.
That's a bad man.
Yes,
on to the zeros, and let's give one to the entire Chargers team. They got thrashed by the Patriots 45-0, and it was a tough day for Justin Herbert. 26 of 53, 209 yards and 2 interceptions. He got sacked 3 times as well.
Ouch. And finally, our perennial zeros, the Jets. New low today. Looked like they had the win, but look at that. How did that guy get so far behind the defense? Well, I know. ESPN tells me Jets rushed 7 guys. That's how. First team to do that with a 4 to 8 point lead with less than 15 seconds left in the game and 40 yards to go to the end zone. What were they thinking? Jets lose to Vegas 31-28.
They're thinking, let's tank, baby.
Oh, yes.
Next up for the Jets, those Seattle Seahawks. All right, still to come. Definitely not the results the Ducks and Beavers wanted on the road. Art, are you worried for either of these teams? We're about to weigh in on that, man. And thanks to the magic of Microsoft Paint, we spare no expense, folks, here at KGW. We give Carmelo Anthony the number he wants. Should the Blazers consider it? Look at that artwork, man. What Melo is saying coming up on the other side. And welcome back to Sports Sunday. Again, the practice facility closed, but the Trailblazers were back on the court earlier this week. They had individual workouts starting on Tuesday, and We also got a chance to talk to those players. Damian Lillard mentioned his discussions with general manager Neil Olshey about going all in to build a championship roster. He says it's been too long.
Let's try to bring that glory back to Portland. You know, it's been, 50 years? How long has it been? 77. It's been a long time, and I want to be a part of that.
Art, you got to love hearing the face of the franchise talk like that, right?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that's the best thing about that was the fact that, he's all in, he's talking about it, he's thinking about it. We know that every player wants to win a championship, but when Dame says it, you really believe it.
It carries a lot more weight when it comes out of Damian Lillard's mouth, that's for sure. And I know that had a lot of people hyped up to hear those championship aspirations out loud and to hear them say it openly about those conversations he's having with his boss.
Yeah, he already seems like he's in his serious mode and ready to start this season.
Look out. Okay,
Yeah.
So Art, one of the big topics discussed this week was the starting lineup. And with Robert Covington and Derek Jones Jr. the likely starters, that means Carmelo Anthony would come off the bench. It's something Melo talked to Dame and CJ about, as well as Coach Stotts and Olshey before signing to play with Portland this season.
This is what works for this team. What we need best for this team is not if I should be starting or not. I don't think that's a question. I don't think anybody would question that. I definitely don't question that.
Pretty open and candid Carmelo Anthony as usual.
Yes.
Art, what are your thoughts about his role on this team and him accepting coming off the bench?
Well, I think if he is going to accept it, I think that's great. I think one of the things Terry Stotts told him was it's more about who finishes the game, not who starts the game. And you got to believe that Melo's going to be finishing a lot of games because of the way that he can play, especially offense, and really the pretty good quality defense he plays as well. You know what? I think he's looking at this as his legacy. And when he helps Portland win the championship, nobody's going to be worried about whether or not he started.
Right, and that was one thing that Melo brought up too, and saying that was a conversation that he hadn't really had until he had it with Olshey, and so that meant a lot to him, big picture, and that's really where he's at with this. So, and also, I mean, he's going to give the second unit a lift offensively.
Oh, no doubt about it.
So
yeah, I mean, it'll be great.
Yeah, and Art, the number 7 is a polarizing topic. And fans in Rip City, they've got an opinion about it one way or the other. And I mean, social media was going crazy after Melo was asked about wearing that number.
Listen, if Portland gives me number 7 this year, listen, I'll be happy. I'll be thrilled. So we need a petition. We need a petition for that. I need number 7.
All right, Art, where do you stand about that? Number 7.
The number's not retired, is it?
No.
So if it's not retired, give the man number 7.
But what about,
it's already on his hat.
What about Brandon Roy, man?
But not going to forget about Brandon Roy. I mean, it's going to be 2 great players who wore the same number. They can retire it twice a little bit later on.
Nicely done, Art. Okay, so college basketball is already going strong. The Ducks are out to a 4-0 start. Who led the way over Utah today?
Last chance for the Cougars. Mill the catch, wrestled down on the 2.
What a finish. Coastal Carolina's defense held on. Last play of the game, stopped the receiver at the 2-yard line. The Chanticleers remain a perfect 10-0 on the season after a 22-17 win over BYU. And that is also your Toyota Sunday Sizzle. It was a disappointing Saturday for the Oregon Ducks, taking on a winless Cal. What could go wrong? Well, the Ducks offense struggled. They were shut out in the second half. They turned the ball over twice. Penalties were a problem. The defense, though, played much better against the run, but it just wasn't enough. They lost 21-17. Oregon gets Washington next, likely for the North Division title. Art, after 2 losses in a row, does it feel like this season is done, or are you hopeful that these Ducks can turn it around?
I'm hopeful they can turn it around, you know what, and it's going to be a season like we had last year when they win the Pac-12 and then go to a good bowl game. I mean, if they do that this year, if they can win the North, get to the Pac-12 championship game, win that, they go to the Fiesta Bowl, I think, and man, that's not so bad.
So there's still a lot to play for with this Oregon Ducks team. I know that a lot of people just wanted to think that Rose Bowl victory was going to go straight into this one, but they've got some growing pains. A lot of young guys on this team. We're talking about one of the youngest teams in the nation right now. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. They still have some work to do. Oregon State went into the game against Utah shorthanded. Their biggest offensive weapons, Jermar Jefferson, your boy, Art.
Oh, yeah,
and
love him.
Tristan Gebbia, they didn't play. Still, the Beavers, they gave it all they had out there. But they had some trouble stopping the Utah run game. They fell behind early. But somehow, someway, they rallied and they gave themselves a chance to win this game. But it just wasn't enough. 30-24 was the final, and it stopped their 2-game win streak. So, Art, what do you take away from this game?
Yeah, once again, I take away from it that the Beavers have an awful lot of heart. I mean, those guys play really, really hard, never give up. I mean, they could have walked in there and said, yeah, we don't have a chance without 2 of their best offensive players. But they didn't say that, and they just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. Just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, because they really had no business in this game based on the players that they were putting out there, their quarterback for the very first time.
Right.
And still, they're finding ways to get it done. It says a lot about the coaching staff, and as you mentioned, the heart of this team. They are a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait till they're at full strength and they continue to build off this because they've got a good thing going down in Corvallis. Hey, Art, let's talk some college basketball now.
All right.
The Oregon women have tipped off Pac-12 play. 10th ranked Ducks looking to stay undefeated against Utah. And Oregon, no trouble today. How about Erin Boley, the senior with the hoop in the arm? You were the one telling me you need to look out for her.
Absolutely.
Well, she had 17 on the day, and even when things went wrong, they really didn't. So the Ducks, they get a blowout win, 85-43. The Ducks are 4-0 on the season. All right, let's check in with the Beavers. No real issues with Colorado at Gill Coliseum. How about Aaliyah Goodman? 24 points to lead the 17th ranked Oregon State Beavers to a 70-53 win in their Pac-12 opener. The Beavs host Utah on Tuesday. We'll be right back. All right, Art, you see this, man? They had to take a landscaping timeout during the Clemson-Virginia Tech game last night. Less than 3 minutes in the first quarter, the field sprinkler system went off. The Virginia Tech defense made the most of it, using the moment to just hype up the team. There we go. But it didn't help because Clemson won big, 45-10. Art, you ever have any landscaping timeouts?
I can't get my system to work at all. I can't program the thing. Maybe I should call them. Maybe they can get it to work. Hey, look, I'm back, and look what I got. I got some Legos. I have Legos.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's go. I told you I was going to the Lego factory, man.
See,
I told you I was going to do that. Lego factory.
I love that you're bringing souvenirs back from your trips now.
Got to have some fun.
I'm spoiled, man. Nicely done tonight. It's time to call it. But first, we leave you with our Plays of the Week.
We're ready, it's go time. Lights, camera, action, showtime. The heart of a champion, my
Stick by Boley.
Getting some separation. Can't get it to go, but the huge putback dunk by Latrell Jones. They've got a heartbeat. I don't know how he got this ball in, Mike. I don't know. Last chance for the Cougars. Middle of the catch. Wrestled down on the 2. Coastal wins it.
Get some popcorn in here.
Ball game.
Once again, we are seeing a superstar.
For just a